invisible intent, that attention, it's constantly, mantra, mantra, be with you, mantra, mantra. As the scene's outside, there's a disconnect, and it's seen. And it's also seen the faith, the trust in the master, and the total devotion to yourself. Striving to know yourself, striving in every moment, okay, you know what, this bad thing looks like it's happening, but no, I'm not going to accept this as the reality. I know the reality. The reality is I'm mantra. Master says mantra, mantra. Master says the world is illusion. It's illusion. What's coming and going comes and goes. It does not affect me. This selfless self, this sense of selfless self, this presence, and that presence, everything appears on. And inviting the attention of the invisible listener is what this does. And that invisible listener then, it somehow releases the stranglehold on the beingness, on the idea, because there's almost like the presence, like Maharaj says, wants to survive. It wants to continue. In whatever form it's in, it wants to continue. That desire to live, that desire to be is very strong until the attention is invited. When the invisible listener sees through this, that stranglehold is released. There's no longer a need to perpetuate, because you know yourself in a real sense. You're not any longer striving or struggling, because you've released that concept. You've released that concept that this body is all you are. And the invisible listener sees this, and it literally burns away this egoistic sense. I no longer have to struggle. I no longer have to worry about dying. I no longer have to worry that what happens when this form goes and all this, because I've seen now. And now I live my life from that point of seeing, that when something comes up, I know, like Master says, it's illusion. And now selfless self, because of the mantra, because of devotion, because of remaining, because of allowing scenes to pass, this tension-free life, this fearless life, this peaceful life arises spontaneously. And that invisible listener, when the attention is pulled, releases. It's no longer trying to survive through body form. There is no longer the love to be, as Nisargadatta Maharaj says. That love to be is released. Released is the best word to describe it, because you're here, selfless self. The attention is invited through mantra, through devotion to your selfless self, devotion to the masters, because until you can really devote that thought-free state and worship, as Nisargadatta Maharaj says, the highest form of worship is in the waking state, being thought-free. But until that time, worshiping the selfless self through the master, through the form of the master, bowing to the masters in the picture, bowing to the masters and staying in that bowing position, that surrendered state throughout. And that invites the attention of Brahman, Atman, Paramatman, God, Master that you are, and sees, yes. And then it's released. Mm-hmm. And when you release the stranglehold of this beingness, this desire to be, then you can still, you use the body, do, as Maharaj says, you do your job, you do your duties, you move about in the world, no problem. But you're totally unconcerned, because that stranglehold on the beingness has been released. And that's attention, inviting the attention of the invisible listener and allowing that spontaneous conviction. Oh, so that I have nothing to do. I am not body, I was not body, I'm not going to remain the body. Body is definitely not my identity. And I see this. I no longer have to have faith, because now I know.